the police sent Ganimard. For 4 days the old inspector rummaged and hunted about, strolled in the park, had long talks with the maids, the chauffeur, the gardeners, the people of the nearest post-offices, and examined the rooms occupied by the Bleichen couple, the Dandel cousins and Madame de Réal. Then, one morning, he disappeared without taking leave of his hosts. But a week later they received this telegram: "Please meet me 5 o'clock tomorrow, Friday afternoon, at Thé Japonais, Rue Boissy d'Anglais. Ganimard." At 5 o'clock to the minute, on the Friday, their motor car drew up in front of 9 Rue Boissy d'Anglais. The old inspector was waiting for them on the pavement, and without a word of explanation led them up to the first floor of the Thé Japonais. In one of the rooms they found 2 persons, whom Ganimard introduced to them. Monsieur Gerbois, professor at Versailles College, whom, you will remember, Arsène Lupin robbed of 500,000. Monsieur Léonce d'Hautrec, nephew and residuary legatee of the late Baron d'Hautrec. The 4 sat down. A few minutes later, a 5th arrived. It was the chief of the detective service. Monsieur Dudouis appeared to be in a rather bad temper. He bowed and said: "Well, what is it, Ganimard? They gave me your telephone message at headquarters. Is it serious?" "Very serious, chief. In less than an hour, the last adventures in which I have assisted will come to an issue, here. I considered that your presence was indispensable." "And does this apply also to the presence of Dieuzy and Folenfant, whom I see below, hanging round the door?" "Yes, chief." "And what for? Is somebody to be arrested? What a melodramatic display! Well, Ganimard, say what you have to say." Ganimard hesitated for a few moments, and then, with the evident intention of impressing his hearer, said: "First of all, I wish to state that Herr Bleichen had nothing to do with the theft of the ring." "Oh," said M. Dudouis, "that's a mere statement, and a serious one." And the count asked: "Is this discovery the only thing that has come of our exertions?" "No, sir. 2 days after the theft, 3 of your guests happened to be at Crécy in the course of a motor trip. 2 of them went on to visit the famous battlefield, while the 3rd hurried to the post office and sent off a little parcel, packed up and sealed according to the regulations, and insured to the value of 100 francs. M. de Crozon objected: "There's nothing out of the way in that." "Perhaps you will think it less natural when I tell you that, instead of the real name, the sender gave the name of Rousseau, and that the addressee, a M. Belou, residing in Paris, changed his lodgings on the very evening of the day on which he received the parcel, that is to say, the ring." "Was it one of my Dandel cousins, by any chance?" asked the count. "No, it was neither of those gentlemen." "Then it was Madame de Réal?" "Yes." The countess, in amazement, exclaimed: "Do you accuse my friend, Madame de Réal?" "A simple question, madame," replied Ganimard. "Was Madame de Réal present at the sale of the blue diamond?" "Yes, but in a different part of the room. We were not together." "Did she advise you to buy the ring?" The countess collected her memory. "Yes, as a matter of fact. I think she was the first to mention it to me." "I note your answer, madame," said Ganimard. "So it is quite certain that it was Madame de Réal who first spoke to you of the ring and advised you to buy it. Still, my friend is incapable. I beg your pardon, I beg your pardon. Madame de Réal is only your chance acquaintance and not an intimate friend, as the newspapers stated, thus diverting suspicion from her. You have only known her since last winter. Now, I can undertake to prove to you that all that she has told you about herself, her past, her connections, is absolutely false. That Madame Blanche de Réal did not exist before she met you, and that she has ceased to exist at this present moment." "Well," said M. Dudouis, "what next?" "What next?" echoed Ganimard. "Yes, what next? This is all very interesting, but what has it to do with the case?" "If Madame de Réal took the ring, why was it found in Herr Bleichen's tooth powder? Come, Ganimard, a person who takes the trouble to steal the blue diamond keeps it. What have you to answer to that?" "I? Nothing. But Madame de Réal will answer. Then she exists." "She exists without existing. In a few words, here it is. 3 days ago, reading the paper which I read every day, I saw at the head of the list of arrivals at Trouville, Hôtel Beau Rivage, Madame de Réal, and so on. You can imagine that I was at Trouville that same evening, questioning the manager of the Beau Rivage. According to the description and certain clues which I gathered, this Madame de Réal was indeed the person whom I was looking for, but she had gone from the hotel, leaving her address in Paris, 3 Rue du Colisée. On Wednesday, I called at that address, and learned that there was no Madame de Réal, but just a woman called Réal, who lived on the second floor, followed the occupation of a diamond broker, and was often away. Only the day before, she had come back from a journey. Yesterday, I rang at her door, and, under a false name, offered my services to Madame de Réal as an intermediary to introduce her to people who were in a position to buy valuable stones. We made an appointment to meet here today for a first transaction. Oh, so you expect her? At 5:30. And are you sure? That it is Madame de Réal of the Château de Crozon? I have indisputable proofs, but... Folenfant's signal! A whistle had sounded. Ganimard rose briskly. We have not a moment to lose. Monsieur and Madame de Crozon, go into the next room, please. You too, Monsieur d'Hautrec, and you also, Monsieur Gerbois. The door will remain open, and, at the first sign, I will ask you to intervene. Do you stay, chief, please. And if anyone else comes in? Asked Monsieur Dudouis. No one will. This is a new establishment, and the proprietor, who is a friend of mine, will not let a living soul come up the stairs, except the blonde lady. The blonde lady? What do you mean? The blonde lady herself, chief, the friend and accomplice of Arsène Lupin, the mysterious blonde lady against whom I have positive proofs, but against whom I want, over and above those and in your presence, to collect the evidence of all the people whom she has robbed. He leaned out of the window. She's coming. She has gone in. She can't escape now. Folenfant and Dieuzy are guarding the door. The blonde lady is ours, chief. We've got her. Almost at that moment, a woman appeared upon the threshold, a tall, thin woman, with a very pale face and violent golden hair. Ganimard was stifled by such emotion that he stood dumb, incapable of articulating the least word. She was there, in front of him, at his disposal. What a victory over Arsène Lupin! And what a revenge! And, at the same time, that victory seemed to him to have been won with such ease that he wondered whether the blonde lady was not going to slip through his fingers, thanks to one of those miracles which Lupin was in the habit of performing. She stood waiting, meanwhile, surprised at the silence, and looked around her without disguising her uneasiness. She will go, she will disappear, thought Ganimard in dismay. Suddenly he placed himself between her and the door. She turned and tried to go out. No, no, he said. Why go? But, monsieur, I don't understand your ways. Let me pass. There's no reason for you to go, madame, and every reason, on the contrary, why you should stay. But it's no use. You are not going. Turning very pale, she sank into a chair and stammered. What do you want? Ganimard triumphed. He had got the blonde lady. Mastering himself, he said, Let me introduce the friend of whom I spoke to you, the one who would like to buy some jewels, especially diamonds. Did you obtain the one you promised me? No, I don't know. I forget. Oh, yes, just try. Someone you knew was to bring you a colored diamond. Something like the blue diamond, I said, laughing, and you answered, Exactly. I may have what you want. Do you remember? She was silent. A little wrist-bag which she was holding in her hand fell to the ground. She picked it up quickly and pressed it to her. Her fingers trembled a little. Come, said Ganimard. I see that you do not trust us, Madame de Réal. I will set you a good example and let you see what I have got to show. He took a piece of paper from his pocket-book and unfolded it. Here, first of all, is some of the hair of Antoinette Bréat, torn out by the baron and found clutched in the dead man's hand. I have seen Mademoiselle de Gerbois. She has most positively recognized the color of the hair of the blonde lady. The same color as yours, for that matter. Exactly the same color. Madame de Réal watched him with a stupid expression, as though she really did not grasp the sense of his words. He continued. And now,